My name is Margaret Sullivan, though everyone calls me Maggie. At 62, I thought I had seen it all, especially after 40 years of marriage to John, a civil rights attorney. From the civil rights movement of the 1960s through the Vietnam War protests of the 70s and into the present day, we've always found ourselves at the heart of social change. But last Christmas made me realize just how naive my assumptions had been. Our three-story colonial house stands on Beacon Street in the quiet suburb of Chestnut Hill, Boston. With its white colonnade, deep green shutters, and red brick exterior, people often say it embodies the best of this area's cherished traditions. Boston College is nearby, and our street is lined with similar upper-class homes. In spring, the maple-lined streets are beautiful, with young students bringing vitality to the neighborhood. Summer brings garden parties, autumn paints everything in deep crimson, and now in winter, the bare trees stand quietly, draped in white snow. I'm a former university professor who specialized in racial studies. After teaching at Harvard for over 30 years, where I engaged in countless discussions about race and cultural diversity with my students, many of whom have gone on to become prominent researchers and activists. Now I'm involved in charitable work and command a certain respect in Boston's upper society. I'm particularly passionate about educational support and cultural coexistence programs, successfully raising millions in donations each year. One of my proudest achievements is our scholarship program, which provides educational opportunities to children from disadvantaged backgrounds. My husband John is a renowned civil rights attorney. He takes pride in his mixed African and Irish heritage, and while gentle in nature, he stands firm when justice is at stake. His firm has handled numerous historic human rights cases, many of which are now textbook examples. In the 1990s, he won a landmark wrongful termination case against a major corporation, significantly advancing workplace equality. He has an interesting habit, keeping records. Whether it's casual conversations or significant events, he documents everything meticulously. I initially thought it was just his professional habit spilling into his personal life. No justice without documentation was his motto, and he believed that even the smallest details might prove significant someday. Our son James is a successful investment banker who married Vicky 5 years ago. She's a corporate lawyer from a prestigious background whom he met at Harvard Law School. Their meeting delighted us. They seemed like the perfect couple, James making his mark on Wall Street, Vicky on track to become a partner at a major law firm. From the outside, they were an ideal match. Their wedding was a glamorous affair at a historic mansion in Newport, attended by numerous notable figures. And then there's our beloved grandson, 3-year-old Marcus. With his characteristic African-American curls, bright and friendly personality, he's the center of our family's affection. His smile is like sunshine, just seeing his innocent expression warms everyone's hearts. John especially seems to see his own childhood in our grandson. "I had the same kind of hair," he'd say nostalgically, with a hint of sadness in his expression. Marcus loves music, especially dancing to jazz. He's like a tiny jazz man, and we made it our tradition to attend jazz concerts as a family every Sunday. However, concerning signs began to accumulate in our daily life. At first, they were subtle. Vicky's casual discriminatory remarks and behavior. The hidden meaning behind comments like, this restaurant's clientele has really gone downhill. The presumptuous, that neighborhood is dangerous. Her unnatural behavior when taking family photos, always trying to maintain a subtle distance, attempting to position someone between herself and Marcus. Her condescending attitude toward Maria, our maid, correcting her Spanish-accented English to her face, exaggerating minor mistakes. "Your English will be a bad influence on the child," she'd say, words that deeply wounded Maria's heart. Most troubling were her critical comments about Marcus's hair. "This hair is impossible to manage. Why does it have to be so difficult to handle? The appearance concerns me. We should take him to a proper salon. He'll never get into a good private school with hair like this. He's too different from the other children." Vicky's comments grew more frequent by the day. Sometimes she'd say these things directly to Marcus, and you could see the little boy's expression cloud over. What particularly troubled me was the day Marcus touched his hair and asked, "Is it dirty?" The reality that a 3-year-old was beginning to question his identity squeezed my heart. I considered consulting our son, but John said we should wait and watch, so I followed his lead. Looking back, perhaps he had already sensed something then. Did he see in this situation shadows of the discrimination he had experienced himself? I often saw my husband writing in his study late into the night. The sound of his pen moving across a black leather notebook. Sometimes I'd see him recording something on his phone and saving it to his computer. At the time, I had no idea how significant this would prove to be. Later, I learned he had been organizing all events chronologically, creating a digital archive complete with photos and audio recordings. Everything maintained an appearance of peace until last Christmas Eve. We had no idea that day would dramatically change our family's dynamics. Christmas Eve, 6 p.m. It was already dark outside, with snow falling silently. The street lights reflecting off the accumulating snow created a magical scene. The thermometer showed below freezing, but our house was wrapped in warm air. About 20 family members and close friends had gathered in the living room. Under the warm light of the chandelier stood our Christmas tree, adorned with antique ornaments that sparkled. These decorations had been passed down since my grandmother's time, each piece inscribed with family history. The angel at the top was especially precious, brought from Ireland in the 1920s. The dining room table was set with traditional holiday fare. The roast beef, made from the finest marbled meat, was perfectly seared on the outside while maintaining an ideal pink center. The New England clam chowder was exquisite, packed with the flavor of fresh clams. We'd opened a special bottle of Opus, one we'd been saving for special occasions. The aroma of Christmas cookies wafted through the house, while the fireplace flames provided a gentle warmth to the room. Our Christmas parties were known as annual traditions. Unlike formal upper society gatherings, we prided ourselves on genuine hospitality. This year was especially notable as we'd invited the Boston Symphony Orchestra's first violinist, who was playing Bach's aria in our parlor. Marcus was running happily around the Christmas tree in his new red cashmere sweater, which I had knitted myself, choosing a deep red that enhanced his skin tone. Every time his curls bounced, the adults around him would smile. The older guests seemed particularly captivated by Marcus's innocent smile. "He's like a little angel," whispered Eleanor Winston, a trustee of the Boston Museum of Fine Arts. The way his hair shines, it's like a Renaissance angel painting. But something was off with Vicky. She was drinking more champagne than usual, and her expression hardened with each glass. She became increasingly preoccupied with Marcus's hair, obviously trying to maintain distance whenever he came near. During a discussion about charity work, she suddenly changed the subject, launching into a heated speech about the decline in educational standards. The discriminatory implications in her words left guests looking uncomfortable. John quietly observed from across the room. Unusually reserved for someone typically so social, he would occasionally slip into his study to make notes before returning. I didn't yet understand the significance of his behavior. The party was proceeding pleasantly, and the main course was about to be served when tragedy struck suddenly. As Marcus was playing near the tree, Vicky approached him. In her hand was a candle she'd taken from the chandelier. Her movements, usually so refined, seemed strangely awkward. Was it the champagne's influence, or was some other emotion driving her? At that moment, Marcus was running his new toy train across the floor. That train, a gift from his grandfather, was his favorite. His laughter echoed through the room as the wheels rolled across the carpet. Every time his curls fell in his face, he'd push them away with his small hand, an endearing gesture that warmed the hearts of the adults around him. Such dirty hair. It should be burned. With those words, Vicky brought the flame close to Marcus's curls. In that instant, a small flame licked his hair. Though it happened in a flash, that image is forever burned into my retina. Marcus's scream echoed through the room. The violin music stopped, and hands holding champagne glasses froze in midair. I instinctively rushed to embrace Marcus, who hid behind me, trembling. Feeling his small body shaking with fear, I instinctively stood guard to protect him. "It's all right, Marcus. I'll protect you." My voice trembled as I spoke those words. The room's atmosphere froze in an instant, with everyone holding their breath. Only the fireplace flames continued to flicker mercilessly in the silence. While there was no fire, a portion of Marcus's hair was definitely singed. The smell of burned hair created a discordant note with the sweet aroma of Christmas cookies. And more than anything, the depth of the wound inflicted on his young heart was immeasurable. A heavy silence fell over the luxurious living room. Only the fireplace flames continued to flicker in the silence. Shadows from champagne glasses danced across the Persian carpet that had been passed down since the 19th century. Party guests held their breath, watching the situation unfold. This room had witnessed numerous important events over the years. Nights spent drafting civil rights bills, celebrations of charitable foundation establishments. But never had it been filled with such tense air as tonight. As I held the sobbing Marcus tightly, I looked at my husband. Every tremor of the small body in my arms felt like it was tearing my heart apart. The faint smell of burned hair rising from Marcus's curls seemed like an omen of our peaceful daily life going up in flames. John slowly walked to the center of the room. His bearing carried more dignity than I'd seen in our 40 years of marriage. His usual gentle expression was gone, replaced by the severity of a justice executor. He had the same commanding presence as when he stood in court. For 2 years, I've been recording everything." John's voice resonated quietly but powerfully. His tone carried the weight of years of patience and determination. "All of your discriminatory comments, every subtle racist action. Not as a father, but as a lawyer who has seen too many hate crimes." Taking out his black leather notebook, John continued. It was as if words he had been holding back for years were now flowing out like a quiet waterfall. Photos, audio recordings, Maria's testimony, social media posts. I have it all. Each piece demonstrates the prejudice lurking within you. The bias behind words like "that neighborhood is dangerous." The implications when you speak of declining educational standards. And above all, your treatment of our household staff. In the corner of the room, I saw Maria quietly wiping away tears. She had worked as part of our family for over 10 years. Only now did I fully understand the humiliation she had endured. After a moment's silence, John's expression changed. From anger to sadness. His voice softened, taking on the warmth of when he used to tell bedtime stories to the children years ago. But that's not all, John sighed deeply while looking at Vicky. Victoria, when James first told me about you, I knew your family name. Your father's company was on the brink of bankruptcy. If it had collapsed, over 1,000 employees would have been left destitute. I could have destroyed the company. Perhaps I should have. Someone in the room dropped a champagne glass. The sound echoed unnaturally loud in the tense atmosphere. Muffled sobs could be heard from somewhere, probably from older guests who understood the situation. But seeing how James loved you, I chose to believe that love could change everything. I chose to believe, not for business, not as a social experiment. I wanted to believe in the love between two young people. That love could bridge any divide. At that moment, Vicky's expression changed. Her arrogant demeanor crumbled, revealing something underneath. Was it fear or guilt? Looking at Marcus, John delivered his final words. His eyes held all the discrimination he had experienced in his life, and the pride of having overcome it. And now, seeing you try to burn what makes my grandson beautiful and special. I know I wasn't wrong about love. I was wrong to believe in you. Those words transformed the room's atmosphere. It was like a moment of purification, as if years of festering wounds had finally been lanced. Vicky's face drained of color, and she collapsed to her knees. Her expensive evening gown spread across the carpet like a beached jellyfish. Through tears, she confessed to knowing about her father's company. I knew. I saw my father, crying every night. But I. Her words trailed off, replaced by uncontrollable sobs. James stood frozen between his father and wife, shocked by the newly revealed truth. His expression showed the pain of betrayal by a loved one mixed with deep family love. Dad believed in our love more than Vicky did. James's voice quietly echoed through the room. His words carried both resolution and resignation. Instead of going to his wife, he took a step toward his father. In the corner, the Boston Symphony Orchestra's first violinist quietly packed away his instrument. Everyone understood that tonight's performance was over. Events moved swiftly toward conclusion. Vicky stumbled out of the room in a daze. The sound of her expensive heels echoed down the hallway, followed by the closing of the front door. Only the lingering scent of her perfume remained, like an echo of time past. James placed his hand on his father's shoulder, and Marcus ran to his grandfather. Party guests quietly began preparing to leave. Everyone was speechless, only bowing their heads in silence. Our longtime friends seemed to understand our family's sorrow. Eleanor Winston held my hand before leaving and whispered quietly, "Today, I witnessed the strength of your family. This event will surely impact many people." The following weeks felt like the calm after a storm. The Christmas tree was put away, and normal life resumed, but clearly everything had changed. James and Vicky separated. Vicky began living alone in a luxury Manhattan apartment and started professional counseling. Her father, taking the situation seriously, offered to fully cover her treatment costs. Legal measures and a rehabilitation program were proposed, which Vicky accepted. Though John's evidence was sufficient for criminal charges, considering the family's future, he chose to offer an opportunity for rehabilitation. "We don't respond to hate with hate. That's how our family operates." John said this as he signed the rehabilitation program documents. The decision received significant media coverage. The Boston Globe reported on the incident as an example of hidden discrimination in modern society, praising our response as a model of reconciliation and healing. Harvard University's Institute for Race Studies requested to use this case as teaching material. Marcus's hair was treated by a professional stylist and is gradually regaining its beautiful curls. More importantly, his emotional wounds are slowly healing through family love. "Grandpa, isn't my hair beautiful?" We smiled with relief seeing Marcus proudly touch his hair. A year later, we're celebrating Christmas again. This year's celebration is smaller, with only our closest friends invited. Marcus is now 4, and his curls shine more beautifully than ever. Vicky has taken the rehabilitation program seriously and is showing gradual changes. She now has monthly supervised visits with Marcus. Though tense at first, these meetings have become increasingly natural over time. "I'm sorry, truly." During a recent visit, Vicky spoke words of genuine apology for the first time. James has started hosting study groups on racial issues alongside his work. His influence in investment banking is significantly contributing to promoting diversity in the financial sector. Changing individual consciousness leads to real transformation. He speaks these words while following in his father's footsteps, working towards social justice. Complete reconciliation will take time. Deep wounds don't heal easily. But we've learned that love can indeed change people. The courage to face and overcome discrimination. And most importantly, the strength to protect those we love. Our family has grown stronger through this experience. Maria now participates in family meetings, confidently expressing her opinions. Her presence symbolizes our family's diversity. Under this year's Christmas tree, Marcus shows the same smile as before. His curls shine beautifully as a symbol of our family's diversity and strength. A new ornament is inscribed with the words, "Love conquers all," marking the beginning of a new chapter for our family. "Grandma, do you think Mom can bake cookies with us next year?" I smiled gently at Marcus's innocent question. There's no rush, Marcus. What matters is understanding each other from the heart. Outside the window, snow continued to fall silently. Each white crystal seemed to reflect our hopes for the future. And I am certain that this experience won't end as just a sad incident, but will become a foundation for a better tomorrow. Our story continues. With love, forgiveness, and hope.